Hey Big Brother fans, this is a review of episode 3 of Big Brother 16, and let's get to it. They finally got to see the Big Brother HOH room today. We've seen better, but then of course it is a room that is split into two different rooms to accommodate both HOH. So it does look a lot smaller than normal. So the first thing that they walked into, it's like a nest bed with like a birdhouse theme to it. They've got birdhouses all over, and when they ring the bell, it tweets. And there were 3 big blue egg pillows on the bed. It was pretty cute. So Frankie and Caleb decide at that point that they are going to work together, and basically it was just Frankie's way of solidifying his safety for the week, even though, if his people won and got off of the block, he would also be dethroned and put back into the fray. So basically that was his attempt to say, let's work together so that I don't have to be put on the block if my people win, and then they rally up Devin and Derek, and they decide that they wanted to add Zach and Cody to be a part of a team that Caleb said when he went in he wanted to call the Bomb Squad. Let's just go ahead and call them BS for short. Did you see that? Derek is a little iffy because he doesn't feel as if there have been enough conversations to gain trust in the people that they're going to move forward with, and he's smart to think so. I think you can go in there and you can stay strong, but the reality of it is you still don't know one another, and as the weeks go along, and as we're going to see with Devin during this episode, you just cannot, you cannot understand what these people are really about, and they're going to get crazier and crazier, and they're going to do stupid things, and then it's all just going to fall apart. You have to, I think you have to play for a little while before you can really, get into it, as we also saw with Frankie and Victoria, which we will talk about a little bit later. Christine and Nicole, this year kind of like the Nerd Herd, with their little glasses and their goofy personalities. It was actually kind of cute to see their goofiness together. I think if they can stick together and maybe even get a couple of key people together, I think that they could probably go fairly middling to towards the ending, just because of what's going on with the BS people. So anyway, Frankie was very excited to be accepted immediately in with the jocks, and he thought he was going to have to work pretty hard to get that to happen. Caleb then thinks that the girls aren't smart enough to catch on to what's going on in the house, and then of course the editing shows that they're all a bunch of gypsy doodles, and while they might still be, I don't think that they give enough credit to some of the women, and I say some of the women, and one of them that stands out right now, just from just kind of watching the feeds and see, I haven't watched a whole lot, but Brittany, I think she's a little too tender-hearted though, to go super far, but I think that she's a very smart person. I think she's very wise, and it's nice to watch her and how she speaks with people. Let's see where we left off here. Caleb then asks Zach if he wants to be in with the Bomb Squad, and their mission at this point is to get rid of the floaters, and then they bring in Cody. Okay, so that's gonna top them off at 6, leaving out Donnie and I can't think of the other person's name. Hayden. From the All Guy Alliance, which I kind of find interesting, considering the fact that Devin immediately went into, that alliance with Donnie, which then we see him pull Donnie aside and saying that even though he's going to keep up the charade, he has pretty much just dumped him as a as an alliance member. And Donnie's not stupid. That's just one thing that people need to make abundantly clear. He comes off because of his accent as a hick, but he is anything but a hick, a duck hunter, as he was called earlier today, or earlier in the episode, or later in the episode, by Frankie. So for the nominations, they're given 2 eggs, and they each pick an egg to see who will be the one to nominate first. So Caleb won first and Frankie won second, and they kind of sort of decide to use the excuse of the people who fell off. The minor birds are going crazy. Who fell off the spit, I think it is, right? Was it the spit first? And use that as their excuse, because really by the first week you kind of don't really know what each person's playing is. You're still getting to know people, you're still trying to make friends, you're still trying to feel people out. You don't get a real hatred on anyone quite yet, because people are still showing their best side. They're playing that charade. So Caleb goes in and he nominates Donnie and Paula, and Frankie goes in and has to nominate Victoria and Brittany. Sorry, I'm coming down with a cold. So Frankie, of course, had gone in day one. Him and Victoria were, he's in a pod. And here he is having to nominate her. I kind of think probably he did feel a little bit bad, even though he kind of came off as, like it's business, and she's not part of my my BS. So business is business. But I think he did kind of, sorta. I would hope so, because when you come in and you say you're my buddy, you're my pal, let's make this alliance kind of thing, to kind of throw it like that, I don't know, seemed a little callous. Anyway, the new thing is that they bring out these little boxes with their 2 keys put in it, and when they turn the key to say this is the first person I nominated, the person's picture shows up on the screen behind them. Hello, big brother, welcome to the 21st century. No longer are the people being given keys to put around their neck and to hang up on the wall. That's a thing of the past. Let's see. Victoria immediately feels betrayed by her bestie for nominating her. Of course, he said he blamed it on Caleb for taking his choices since he had to vote first. But she still says, I do not trust him, and I don't think I ever can again. And I think that she should continue to feel that way and move on and find other people in the game that she can, hang on to. Caleb lets in, not Caleb, sorry, Devin. Devin lets in Christine and Amber and lets them know all about the BS. The guy is just a loose cannon. He's just running around thinking he's the one that created this, this alliance, and that he's the, like the Godfather, like he's like sitting people down and bringing people in and talking to them, and like they need to get control of this guy. They really seriously need to get control of this guy and they need to do something soon because it's going to get really out of control. So he lets Christine and Amber in on this. And of course, Amber is kind of like, what? And Christine is like, ha ha ha, now I've got some info. She's not stupid, So Devin then goes up and wakes Caleb up in the middle of the morning or night or whatever it is to let him know. And Caleb asks, do they know about it, who the blah blah blah, and he was like, yeah, they know, of course not letting in that he let them know. But anyway, he says, let's bring them in and let's talk to them. So Caleb is kind of like a little on the pissed off side because this stuff is happening, and they decide that Devin has completely lost it. And Devin says, well, it was kind of getting old, 6 guys. What were they, like an alliance for 10.5 seconds before he lets his people in and thinks that it's really old? How can it get old? I mean, they haven't even done anything together to prove that this is an alliance that's going to work or not. You know what I mean? But he seemed to feel that if he let two women in on it, that it was going to be a bigger, stronger alliance. Whatever. He's just being very, very paranoid, and I can tell right now that the BS is going to fall apart, just like the moving company or whatever it was called last year, and it's gonna be ridiculous. It's just gonna, yeah. I went on too long, 11 minutes, and I still have so much more to go. Anyway, it's time for us to vote for Team America. We didn't get to hear anything about any of that, what this new person's going to do, blah, blah, blah. We just continue to vote. So I'm guessing they haven't put them on any missions. From what I have seen when I've watched the feeds, I haven't seen anything completely weird other than Joey was pretty much digging her grave yesterday, in terms of her possibly being put up as a nomination if somebody wins the POV or whatever. She was just digging her grave big time, just running around being all stupid, crazy. Hopefully that's not letting on too many. I'm sorry, I kind of went into a little bit of a spoiler talking about the feeds, but yeah, yesterday she was a nut, like major almond joy. Anyway, we move on to the Battle of the Block, and it was called the Pouring 20s. It's Frankie's nominations versus Caleb's nominations. They had to get on a swing, and they had to, get it. First of all, they had to get it going, which was like, it was so painful to watch. I mean, getting it going from a dead standstill, without your feet to kind of push yourself into it. I can understand that. I can. But, come on now. Anyway. They had to, one person had their champagne flute. It looks more like a martini cup-ish, kind of big. And they had to transfer champagne to their partner while swinging, and then the partner dropped it into a drink flute kind of thing on their end. And the person first to fill it up would, of course, win, get themselves taken off the block, and the person who nominated them would be thrown back into the pool, so that if the 2 people that are left standing win the PO, it has to be replaced, then that's when, Frankie could possibly be put into that spot. And that's why he made sure right away that he made a pact with Caleb. So anyway, that poor Pow Pow, she was such a mess. I cringe for her. When she goes home and watches that, I just feel so bad for her. I'm hoping her family just erases that episode. Brittany was really smart because during that she said, you know what, don't listen to the others, let's just focus on one another and let's get this done. And so she and Victoria were able to finally pull it off. So they are off the block, and Frankie has been dethroned, and that's how we left it. So on Wednesday we're going to get to see the POV. Of course, I already know who the winner of the POV is, and I should probably do a spoiler after this, or you know what, I'll just do it right here. So if you want to stay for the spoiler, stay. If not, beat it. The winner of the POV is Donnie, and since Donnie was a nominee from Caleb, he's going to be coming down. And I also know who the replacement is, so if you don't want to know the replacement, at this point, it's, time for you to say goodbye. And anyway, so Donnie used it, he's come down, and Joey has been put into his place. So we have Joey and Pow Pow up for nomination, and like I said, she dug her grave big time. So today she's trying to do damage control. Since she's been put into that position, she went and cried and said, sorry to Caleb and blah blah blah. Too late. She was a mess, y'all. Major mess. And so that's where we're going to leave it. We'll see, we'll get to see the POV competition. I think it involved, cops and robbers, or I don't know what, but they're running around with police badges, and Derek wore his police badge for quite some time the other day, and it was kind of like everybody in the chat rooms are like, what is he doing wearing his badge? Like he'd be bringing his badge to the Big Brother house. Come on now, people. So that's my only guess, is that it somehow involves, cops and robbers, or a badge or something like that in the coming up competition. So anyway, that's that with that. We'll see you Wednesday when the next episode is. See you later. Bye-bye.